Former President Donald Trump is rallying his supporters. He addressed them during Georgia's Republican convention on Saturday. Trump addressed the elephant in the room as he slammed the 37-count federal indictment against him. Trump is the current frontrunner for the Republican nomination next year and vows to stay in the race even if he's convicted over his handling of classified documents since leaving office. Isabel Rosales has more.
Former President Donald Trump, unapologetic and on the attack.
Jackson sounds so innocent. He's deranged. This is a political hit job.
Georgia's GOP convention marking Trump's first public appearance after becoming the first former president to face federal charges.
We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone.
Special counsel Jack Smith announcing 37 criminal counts against Trump, the majority for violations of the Espionage Act.
Doesn't matter to me. Not at all.
Outside the state convention, his supporters are unfazed.
I think it's a bunch of bull. Trump ain't done nothing wrong. The thing Trump done is saved this country.
They're not going to let it stop. They can't stand the fact that he's running for president. And I am a Donald Trump fan.
It's probably altered, but it's just typical liberal propaganda.
None of the Republican voters CNN spoke with had read the indictment.
No, I wouldn't waste my time on a phony indictment. I don't care about the indictment. You could indict a bologna sandwich.
These loyalists share a deep sense of distrust against perceived opponents of Trump, including the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the press. Supporters routinely brought up President Joe Biden, former Vice President Mike Pence, and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. All had sensitive materials in their possession while out of public office. One big difference, Trump and his aide, Wal Nauta, faced nearly a half-dozen charges related to obstruction and concealment of documents, including for allegedly suggesting to his lawyers to not cooperate with a grand jury subpoena.
In this whole fake indictment, they don't even once mention the Presidential Records Act.
The indictment outlines 2 different occasions Trump allegedly showed classified documents to unauthorized people. And in 2021, Trump admitted on tape to having secret documents that he hadn't declassified, according to the indictment. As president, I could have declassified, but now I can't, Trump said, according to the transcript of the audio obtained by CNN. There's an audio recording of him doing so.
We know that that can be changed. We know that that can be altered.
Within the 49-page indictment, pictures showing boxes of classified documents stacked high in a Mar-a-Lago bathroom, ballroom, office space, and elsewhere.
What he did is incorrect, absolutely incorrect. But the system allowed it to happen. The system is broken. It needs to be fixed.
The convention also drew a handful of anti-Trump protesters, co-opting one of his most popular catchphrases in this quick moment of tension.
Your servant. Lock you up. Yeah, you had. You support Hillary Clinton. She done a lot wrong. You're an idiot.
Ultimately, these Trump supporters could not point to any piece of evidence that would cause their support to waver.
I think Trump is the best president we've ever had, and I'm all about getting him reelected.
A campaign spokesperson for Trump says the former president is expected to speak after his court appearance in Florida on Tuesday.